Hey everyone, Chris Gio here. I just wanted to make a short video. I'm going to keep this short, but what better way to do it than to do it live. This topic is a little bit different. It's about the medical industrial complex, about CBD oil, and the journey that I've been on. I was actually just writing a post because some people on Facebook had recommended something and it's worked out really well for me. And I actually just went to the doctor just yesterday. I'll explain all of this here. But I wanted to share my experience and maybe it'll help some people out there. So no intros or anything like that I'm going to run, just to keep it shorter. But over the last 6 months, no, actually, it's only been about 4 months, like March, April, May, June, and now half of July. So about 4.5 months, I've been working out, doing all this stuff, and making a lot of lifestyle changes that I should have done a long time ago. I just didn't know how to do it. So, part of those changes included change of diet and a couple of different things that I changed within the diet as well. But really, I'm eating a lot more now than I was before. And this is how the dynamics change so much. But I'll get to the diet part here in just a little bit. But what I wanted to talk about is my experience with the doctors. Now, I haven't been to a doctor since I was about 20 years old. I went and got blood work done like 3 years ago. All of that came back perfectly fine. But I noticed that my blood pressure was a little bit higher. It was about 130 over 90, and sometimes in the higher parts it'd be 140 over 100. And the doctor told me, I went about 3 years ago, then I went again about a year ago, and they told me both times when they checked all the blood work and everything, they said, it's just normal. As you get older, your blood pressure gets higher. And I thought, okay, yeah, that's fine. 130 over 90 seemed to be about the average, and it's still considered high. It's still considered normal, just on the high end of normal. And as a matter of fact, they've changed it where normal blood pressure is 120 over 80. Now they consider 130 over 90 still normal. But about a month ago, I made a couple of changes, and I had to go to the doctor for some knee pain because I jacked up my knee doing deadlifts. Probably should have had my form a little bit better. My fault completely. Same with my shoulder. I just jacked up my shoulder a little while ago. I've noticed, like, as I'm doing my bench pressing and doing all of that, that this just starts to flame up, get really inflamed. That's the word I'm looking for. And we started doing these burnout exercises. We're burning out these muscles, but I can't get through the burnout exercises because this starts to hurt. And just a couple of days ago, I came back and I was like on the couch. I could not move because the right shoulder was just boom, inflamed and hurting really bad. It was pretty brutal. So I decided I need to go to the doctor and get this checked out. They checked out my knee a little while ago, and they did an MRI and everything like that. And I wound up getting one of those anti-inflammatory shots directly into the knee. But what I noticed is that as I'm going to the doctors, right? Now that I'm going on this, whole workout journey, and the only reason I'm going to the doctor is to make sure that I'm not hurting myself or damaging myself further by what I'm doing. But I noticed a complete change in dynamic as far as the way they treat me, the respect that I'm shown, and how they actually listen to me. And they respect the fact that I know what my body needs, as opposed to other stories that I hear where doctors are you go to a doctor and they tell you, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. They try to push vaccines on you. They try to do all this. But when you start making these health changes in your life, then you get treated totally different. Like with my knee, they pushed me right to the front of the line and they were like, yeah, we can get you in here the day after tomorrow. With the MRI, the insurance needed to verify it and all this. They did it in like 2 days and not verify, approve it. And I called the insurance and I'm like, look, I don't want to do further damage to my knee. I'd really like to get this expedited because I need the MRI, because if I need to back off a little bit in what I'm doing with my whole health plan. So I call the MRI people and they're like, yeah, we can get you scheduled in here in like 2 days. It's all been so quick. So I haven't seen my primary for like 6 months. Because I like just had to pick up the phone and say, hey, look, I got knee pain. She's like, all right, we're going to write you a referral to the ortho. Just go over there and just take care of it. So I didn't even have to see her. But I went back and I saw her. And, well, I guess let me say this too. During the couple of ortho visits and the primary, I noticed that my blood pressure now was 120/80 consistently 120/80. So I made a couple of changes. Number one was taking Life on a regular basis. Like, I mean, I'm taking probably like 5 doses a day now at this point, and it's really brought me back to a point of balance. For people that don't know, Life is our CBD oil that you can get at ialife.com. Now, when I went and I talked to the doctor yesterday, because this time she wanted to see me first, but then she wrote me the thing for the ortho immediately. But she got me in like the next day. Like I called on what was yesterday? Thursday. I called on Wednesday. They had an appointment for me on Thursday, which is kind of weird because other people I know who see this doctor, they call and they're like, yeah, we can't get you in for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, et cetera, et cetera. So I go to the doctor and she's asking me, what are you doing? And I said, all right, look, I'm taking CBD oil regularly and I'm taking, I changed the sea salt. Here's a big key right here. I changed the sea salt and the table salt to Himalayan pink salt. Once I did that, totally changed the blood pressure. It was the salt that was making the blood pressure go to 130/90, 140/100 sometimes, depending on how much salt I would eat. And I cut out the salt for a while, but I'm like, I can't eat the food like this. And people on Facebook were like, try the pink Himalayan salt. And you have to use a lot less, and it still tastes like salt. It still salts your food up, and it just tastes phenomenal. So I told her, she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing CBD oil. I'm doing cannabis. And hot and cold, like cold pack and, cryotherapy and, things like that. And she's like, good. And she's like, I'm going to give you some naproxen, but you go ahead and use it at your discretion. And she said, why aren't you taking any kind of medication regularly? And I said, look, the way I grew up, my mother didn't even want me to take a Tylenol for a headache. I mean, she was really like, she wanted the body to heal itself. And she said, well, your mother was right about that. Don't take the naproxen regularly if you don't need to. Just take it if you have extreme inflammation. But it sounds like the CBD oil that you're taking right now is really helping you. And I was like, oh, that is phenomenal. The nurse came in and asked me if I wanted some vaccines. And I'm like, no, that's it. End of story. The doctor didn't even mention the vaccines. She didn't try to push them on me. She didn't try to sell me on them, nothing like that. She asked me when I had a tetanus shot. I'm like, I don't know. When I was like 15, I got bit by a squirrel or something like that, and I got a tetanus shot. And they're like, well, would you like to update that? And I'm like, no, thank you. I think I'm doing good. And the doctor agreed with me. She's like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Don't put anything into your body that you don't need to put into your body. And the support from the doctor for the Life, the support from the medical industrial complex for cannabis, for CBD. One doctor that I saw about 3 years ago, the one that did the blood work, I asked her just her thoughts on ayahuasca. And I didn't say that we were doing it regularly or anything like that. I just said, what are your thoughts on going down to the Amazon and doing ayahuasca? And she said, I'm really fascinated with that. It's something that I hear has a lot of really healing benefits. If you have an opportunity to go to the Amazon and drink ayahuasca, do it. And I'm like, yes, all right, cool. We have doctor confirmation on the ayahuasca too. But it's funny the way the dynamic changes when you are making the effort to take care of yourself. And like I said, you get pushed to the front of the line. They will work quickly for you to help you achieve your health goals, whatever the case may be. So I got an appointment with my ortho to go probably get another shot. And I know people are saying that the shots, you can't do them very often. They can cause more damage, et cetera, et cetera. And I understand that. I've only had one shot in my knee, and I think now I'm going to have one in my shoulder. But even the MRI, when it came back, there was like some arthritis and, there was some tendinitis and, stuff like that on my knee, which is really an inflammatory type of deal. So an anti-inflammatory, like a CBD oil, works really, really, really well. I don't know why I'm getting all these different sounds and, all this in my stream. But anyways, I wanted to I wanted to share that experience with everybody because these small changes that you can make a huge difference in your life, make a huge difference in the way you feel too. That's the thing. When we came back from Egypt, I was like winding down and like getting ready to go. You know, I thought my job was done here and that's it. And that was one of the reasons why I went through kind of a downward slope and a kind of a depression type state. Cause I'm asking myself, why am I still here? Why did I even choose to come back to this matrix to begin with? But then there was this new life that I felt and this new Aya life. Aya is an interesting term because it has several different meanings. In Turkish lore, they believe the Ayas are benevolent spirits that kind of watch over everything. Aya means beautiful in some cultures. Aya means holy in other cultures. Aya it's such a broad term that seems to be used by so many different cultures for different types of positive energy, positive entities in some cases. But I think at the end of it, it's all positive energy. Now, we were on a show with Lucky of Truth Frequency News just a couple of days ago, and she asked me, what does the ayahuasca vine do? The bee cappy that's in Aya Life. She said, what does it do? And I said, well, it's an anti-parasitic. And she said, aha, it removes the virus from your consciousness. And I thought, that's very insightful. I never thought, when I thought of anti-parasitic, I thought, parasites in your stomach from eating pork or eating something that's undercooked or, something like that. We all get little parasites in our stomach, et cetera, et cetera. But no, I think it has an even deeper effect, a spiritual effect. And so drinking the actual ayahuasca brew removes the virus from your consciousness. And I think that's why it works so well with Aya Life, the combination of the ayahuasca vine with the CBD oil, non-psychoactive, et cetera, et cetera. But my experiences have been phenomenal. My trainer has a really important race this weekend, and I gave her 3 bottles of Aya Life, and she's like, I'm just drinking that like it's freaking water. And she's asking me, how much can you take? And I'm like, well, theoretically, you could take the whole bottle and you'll be fine. I mean, it's a super dose of freaking CBD. And if you take the whole bottle, but, take 5 droppers, take 6 droppers, take however much you need. And I mean, she's just like downing the stuff now before a race. And she's like, man, I'm getting all hyped. I'm motivated. I'm ready to rock and roll. My pain is going away, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that is, I think it's phenomenal. So I wanted to share that with you. Now, if I can switch the topic to diet for just a moment, I want to tell you what's worked for me. It's not really that boring of a diet, but I need to find a way to kind of change it up a little bit because I've been doing this for a couple of months now, this same freaking diet. And it's like, all right, I need to introduce some other stuff. But chicken, steak, fish. Chicken, steak, fish, chicken, steak, fish. That's the primary source of everything. And what I'll do is I'll get about 5 to 10 pounds of chicken and I'll put it in the Instapot and I'll cook that for about 6 hours. These days, it's more like 5 pounds rather than 10 because I'll go buy 10 at a time and then I'll put 5 pounds in the refrigerator and then I'll put the 5 pounds in the crock pot. And I get wild rice, not white rice, not brown rice, wild rice. That's the key. And then sweet potatoes, and green beans, peas, things like that. So now I've got all my food right there for the next, couple of days. So when I get hungry, because I'm eating like every 3 to 4 hours now, I never thought this is what I would be doing. I always thought diet was about eating less, not eating more. But, so I've got the 5 pounds already ready in the refrigerator with, made with, different things like garlic, thyme, there's a cumin. That's the one I'm looking for. Cumin, pepper, Himalayan sea salt. Himalayan salt, not sea salt, just Himalayan pink salt. That's what I meant to say. Put them in the refrigerator. Then I'll take about 6 to 8 ounces, put it on a plate with the rice that's already cooked. Put that on a plate. Half a can of green beans or sweet potatoes, and stick that in the microwave for about 3 minutes. Boom, done. You've got a meal right there. You feel full. And then afterwards, you deplete that in about 3 or 4 hours, and you're giving your body everything that it needs. You're giving it carbs, simple carbs. Wait a minute. I always get the two confused. Simple versus complex carbs. I think complex carbs are the ones that come from sweet potatoes, and the simple carbs are the ones that take forever to process. One or the other. I don't remember. Okay, let's just call them good and bad carbs. Okay, bad carbs obviously will come from like breads and starches and, things like that. Good carbs come from like sweet potatoes and green beans and squash and things like that. So you've got your carbs, you've got your protein, you've got everything right there, and the wild rice as well. So eating that consistently, I'm finding myself, I'm using up all the energy that I'm putting into my body, and then my body's asking for more and asking for more and asking for more. And then I'll change that up sometimes with like steak or with fish. Fish, I don't like to pre-cook because fresh fish, you got to have fresh fish. It's so difficult to keep fresh fish all the time. And then the other thing that changed the game for me, the air fryer. Oh my God, I love fried chicken. I love French fries especially. French fries. And I thought to myself, if I can have French fries and still maintain this diet, then it's worth whatever the cost is for the air fryer. So now, instead of just microwaving or boiling the sweet potatoes, what I'll do is you spray it with a little bit of oil because it needs a little oil for the crisp, but not nearly as much as deep frying it. And you put the sweet potatoes in the air fryer. Boom, you have sweet potato French fries. I'm like, yes. Same with fried chicken too. I freaking love fried chicken and fried catfish. Oh, we've been frying catfish in the air fryer. Man, okay, so you've got a little bit of breadcrumbs on there, so that adds a little bit of calories and stuff like that, but still nowhere close to deep frying it. So now with the chicken breast, this is why I only do like 5 pounds in the crock pot or in the Instapot, and then I'll keep another 5 pounds because I'm like, I want to make some freaking fried chicken. It takes about 20 minutes to make. Stick it in the air fryer with some breadcrumbs, and boom, you've got it. It's got that crunch. It's got all of that. The only thing it doesn't have, it lacks that oil taste. That distinct deep fried oil taste. But after a while, you're like, hey, this is pretty good here. So boom, there you go. You've got like all these different options now, and steak. I freaking love steak. I've always loved steak. The difference is now I don't go get the freaking 20-ounce porterhouses anymore. Now I get the 6-ounce fillets, the filet mignon, because it's like, well, why not? Why not? It's good for you. It's a lean meat. So that's been working for me phenomenally. My energy level has been through the roof. The CBD oil has brought me to a place of balance. My freaking blood pressure is consistently 120/80. And it all comes down, once again, to Aya Life. AYALife.com. So I highly, highly recommend people check that out. Pick up some Aya Life at ayalife.com. It's in the description, and you can use coupon code BTV for $10 off your order. We got to stop doing this, though. It's just like $10 off your order is a lot. So get it while you can, because we'll have to discontinue this coupon code here pretty soon. Because it's already cheap enough as it is. I mean, it's like $49.99 for a bottle, $10 off. Now it's $40 for a bottle. And you look at the other CBD oils out there, it's very few sell them at this price. A lot of them are priced even more for the kind of quality that you get with Aya Life. And it changes. Your life changes. You find new life. I mean, things are just renewed. And when they're renewed, then you can really focus on what you're doing here, on your mission, on your path, et cetera, et cetera. It's bringing the body into balance as well. Balance of mind, body, and soul. We always focus on our consciousness, but we forget about the other parts sometimes. I did for a long time. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I mean, I sat around drinking ayahuasca, for years in the middle of nowhere, eating the worst kind of freaking food that you can imagine because we didn't have access to anything better. But we built up our consciousness. But that's the same thing as these bodybuilder guys that go to the gym and they spend like five hours a day in the gym and that's it. And they really can't think very straight. And there's just, there's just like freaking gorillas. They're not in balance either. It's funny. I told my trainer that, and I said, we're both completely off balance. You realize this, right? And she's like, what? And I explained it to her. I said, when was the last time you sat down and worked on your consciousness? Yeah, okay. I've been working on my consciousness for years. You've been working on your body for years. All right, now we need to start comparing notes so you can bring up your consciousness level and I can bring up my body level back to a point of balance. And so far, that's exactly what we've been doing. It's funny, but we don't think about these kind of things. And especially like truth movement, new age movement, et cetera, we forget about the basic fundamentals. Basic fundamentals are our bodies. Are vehicles to travel through the matrix. You can know all the stuff in the world, but if you're not balanced, well, then you're still off balance. It doesn't matter. It's balancing the mind, body, and soul. So again, I don't want to make it too long, but kiss the one you love right now. You never know when the last time is going to be. And it's just been amazing. I'm so happy. And I'm even happier that I can go to the doctor and tell her, this is what I need. I need a shot in my arm. Okay. Obviously, you understand what you need. I'm going to go ahead and expedite this for you. I don't want to take the pills regularly. Okay, you don't have to take the pills regularly. Just take the naproxen just in case you need it and it gets too inflamed. Okay, no problem. I don't want the vaccines. I'm not asking you to take vaccines. It's a great dynamic. It really is. And I wish all of the medical industrial complex would work this way. But I think the reason that I'm getting these experiences is because I am genuinely doing things to change the entire dynamic of my consciousness, both consciousness level and body-wise. And when you do that, the world around you equally starts to change. And then your interactions become so much more positive. So yeah, it's funny to come from a place of, no, the medical industrial complex sucks, et cetera, to going, oh, there's actually a way you can utilize the medical industrial complex and these other tools too to your benefit. It doesn't have to overcome you. You become the master of that instead of the other way around. It's phenomenal. It really is. It really is. So kiss the one you love right now. You never know when the last time is going to be, and we'll see you even further beyond the veil.